Okay, we're going to get started. It's a little past 7 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Tonight is the Village Board of Arlington Heights for June 16th, Village Board. And to start, we're going to have Becky call the order, the roll. No, I actually have to take, please, the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm sorry. Please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Now, Becky, if you would please call the roll.
Trustee Dunnington?
Here.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Here.
Trustee Shirley? Trustee Manganaro?
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Here.
Trustee LaBedz?
Here.
Trustee Zyck?
Here.
Trustee Bertucci?
Here.
President Tinaglia?
Here. Thank you, Becky. Okay, so first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have one set of minutes from our village board on 6/2. Is there anyone who needs to recuse themselves from those minutes? Any corrections or changes? Anything from the audience on the minutes? If not, can I have a motion for approval?
I'd like to pass.
So be it. Trustee Schwingbeck will pass on the vote.
I'll move approval of the minutes of June 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Okay, so a motion is made by trustee LaBedz, seconded by trustee Dunnington. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. And then next item is the approval of accounts payable, and for that, I'll call on trustee Bertucci.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move approval of the warrant register for the check dated 6/15/2025 in the amount of $5,306,921.60.
Second.
Motion is made by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. Any questions or comments from anyone on the board? Anyone in the audience? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Yes.
Trustee Zyck?
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
Trustee Manganaro?
Aye.
President Tinaglia?
Yes, motion carries. Okay. And then really quickly, there's a couple of comments that we want to make under recognitions and communications, and I have one based on the program that we had here in town on Saturday, and so I have a little prepared statement that I'd like to read if you can indulge me. On behalf of the entire village board, I want to extend a sincere thank you to our public safety departments, police, fire, public works, and all staff who supported the safety efforts during the protest event at North School Park on June 14th. There were around 3,000 people gathered to exercise their absolute right to assemble and free speech. And thanks to the dedication and professionalism of our teams and the event, it remained peaceful and safe. Protest events do occasionally take place in our community, and while they have been relatively uneventful, our public safety teams still prepare thoroughly and thoughtfully for all potential scenarios. Planning meetings are held in advance, schedules are adjusted, and staff is on site for these weekend events, all to help ensure that every possible measure is in place to protect the safety of the attendees and the broader community. They show up, they keep us safe, and that's what they do. And that's what we all strive to do every day in service to Arlington Heights. So I just want to say thank you to all the citizens who came out and everyone on our staff who was involved in the oversight of this event. Thank you very much. Randy, kudos to you for all of your departments and everybody that work at Village Hall. It was really well done. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I know that trustee Santa Maria had a comment she wanted to make as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to take a moment tonight to just address something that has really shaken me to my core, not just as a trustee, but as a resident, a woman, and the daughter of immigrants. News broke that license plate reader data maintained by Mount Prospect and other Illinois communities was improperly accessed by law enforcement in Texas to target someone seeking reproductive care. In addition, that same data was used in over 200 immigration-related searches, clear violation of Illinois state law. Let me be absolutely clear. I am outraged, and this is horrifying. Technology like Flock is supposed to protect our communities, not be weaponized to punish people for exercising their rights or for existing as immigrants. What happened is an egregious violation of public trust, and our community deserves answers, transparency, and accountability. We owe it to the residents of Arlington Heights to ensure that their personal data is not misused. I'm calling on this board and our administration to confirm whether Arlington Heights data was accessed or exposed in any way, review, and if necessary, strengthen our policies and ordinances to safeguard against any unauthorized use, and clearly communicate our stance to the public that Arlington Heights will not participate in the misuse of this technology, especially for abortion-related investigations or immigration enforcement. People come to Illinois and to Arlington Heights for safety, dignity, and freedom, and we must do everything in our power to protect those values. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Santamaria. And I know that that was a very, very important issue that happened last week. And Manager Recklouse and I had a long discussion about that with one of our state reps. And would you like to follow up on that and share what we know?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Mayor. And, the incident that Trustee Santamaria is referring to involved the accessing of information from an adjacent town in an illegal manner by another outside law enforcement agency. In Illinois, while use of flock cameras are prevalent, it is illegal for...
Randy, could you explain what...
Sure, I'm sorry about that.
What a flock camera is?
Flock cameras, they're automatic license plate reading cameras where they're used to, if someone is, wanted for a crime or someone, there's a crime in progress, vehicles can be located to help track those people down. These are used routinely by law enforcement, both to kind of catch up with perpetrators of crimes, but also to exonerate individuals who to validate their alibis, that are later found to be innocent. The other ways that we've used it, and one way that we've used it recently, is to find missing people. There was an incident not too long ago in Arlington Heights where there was a missing senior who was gone. They were supposed to leave the hospital and go right back home, and it turns out that they were driving kind of aimlessly, and they were found by another jurisdiction using flock cameras in Skokie, and then they were found and taken safely home. And so it is a really effective, positive tool when used properly, and there are safeguards in place. What happened in this situation was it was used illegally by another entity. Illinois state law prohibits the use of flock camera data for a number of things, including abortion and immigration. And when you do flock camera searches, you're given a disclaimer that you can't use it for certain purposes, and the penalty for that is flock can terminate your agreement if it's used in an appropriate manner. We are aware, since the Illinois Attorney General's office did do an audit after this incident came to light, that there are instances where, as part of an overall state of Illinois search, where our data was included in the state of Illinois search, that our data may have been reviewed as part of an inappropriate search. We're not aware of any indication that Arlington Heights data led to any arrests or any further inquiries. Flock, the company that runs these cameras, is sorting out these issues to make sure that data sharing is done in compliance with each state's laws. Since the news broke last week, the Arlington Heights Police Department has turned off its data sharing function on its data, pending the resolution by Flock. So we still can use our own data, but we're not allowing other entities to access our data at this time until we are comfortable with the actions that Flock is taking to protect everyone's information. Again, we still continue to believe that Flock is an excellent law enforcement tool. The actions taken by those other agencies were clearly in violation of Illinois state law and were in violation of stated policies of Flock. But we're going to continue to work with Flock to see that the data is used in a manner that's consistent with both best practices in law enforcement and Illinois law.
Okay, great. Thanks, Manager Recklouse. I appreciate it. Any other questions from the board on this? Trustee Dunnington.
Thank you. I do share in Trustee Santamaria's outrage that the flock system was used against Illinois state law, and I support her request for the board to review the audited data to see what was shared and to review our current policies to ensure that it can never happen again.
Very good. Anyone else? Okay. Trustee LaBedz had another announcement she'd like to make.
Right. Thank you, Mayor Tinaglia, but I'll also say that I appreciate that Trustee Santa Maria, Trustee Dunnington, Mayor Tinaglia, and Village Manager Recklouse have all discussed the issue with the flock cameras, and that we do need to make sure that we do things safely and correctly and within the law of Illinois, and not put our residents at harm from that. I also, before I get to the thing I really want to talk about, want to mention that I was at the protest on Saturday afternoon, and it went extremely well. And I also want to thank the police, Public Works, and everyone on the village staff that was involved. It took a lot of work on their part. But I also want to thank every one of the participants, because yes, there was chanting and shouting and the sort of things one would expect. It was all done in a very peaceful, orderly manner, and I was proud to be a part of this event. So that brings me to the happy thing I want to mention, and that is this coming Sunday, June 22nd, the Arlington Heights Garden Club is going to have their annual garden walk. And it starts at the Historical Society at 10, it's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can buy tickets in advance at the Farmers Market on Saturday morning. I think you can also get them at Village Bank. And I know that they're $15 in advance, but you can buy tickets on the day of for $20 a piece. You go to the Historical Society, you get a booklet and a map, and it tells you all about the different gardens that you get to see. And I've been going for a number of years, and I highly recommend anybody who's interested in gardening or just wanting to see what's going on in their neighbors' yards. Take a moment, take a couple of hours out on Sunday afternoon. Should be a nice day, and it's a great event, and it's a fundraiser for them. I think it goes also towards scholarships that they provide. So that's it.
Thank you, Trustee LaBedz. Okay, anyone else? I think that's it. That's all Trustee Manganaro.
Did have a couple of things, and first I did want to express thanks to Trustee Santa Maria for bringing up the flock issue, and appreciation for the PD and staff for quickly shutting off access. And I'm confident that we will run that down. I was also in North School Park on Saturday, and I want to express my appreciation to the Public Works and police staff. Gratefully, we didn't have to call an emergency medical on Saturday. Things went very, very smoothly thanks to great planning and really, really good work on the day. I talked to quite a few folks, residents and visitors, that felt safe and protected here in Arlington Heights on Saturday. And given the day, I am terribly grateful for that we are a place where, as you say, Mayor, we can express our views, we can do it in public, and we can do it orderly, peacefully, and safely. I also, on a lighter note, wanted to mention that Frontier Days is just around the corner. And I'd like to issue a friendly challenge to the board members. Trustee Dunnington and I have signed up to help the Red Shirts and picked up a volunteer shift. And I would like to see if any of my friends on the board would be willing to do so also. And anyone out there, if you are thinking about going to Frontier Days, they do need help. They do still have shifts open, and the last meeting of the volunteers before Frontier Days is Wednesday night over at Pioneer Park, and I think you get cake if you show up. Lastly, it is our last meeting of Pride Month, and I wanted to take the opportunity to extend my wishes of happy Pride to the members of the LGBTQ+ community, their allies and families. I see you, I support you, and I stand with you. And I would be happy to someday see the flag fly here in Arlington Heights. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Trustee Manganaro. Regarding Frontier Days, you're 100% right. It is an organization that's been around for a long, long, long time, and many of the folks who are operating it are my senior, and they've been doing it the whole time. So it would be wonderful to have some new faces that would help out anyone in the viewing community here, contacting some of the program members. It's easy to get involved, and it's wonderful to be part of it all. Cindy and I have done it many, many years. I think one last thing that I think is important to share, that everyone here seemed to touch on, and the word I think is respect. There was a lot of respect, I think, that was given from both sides of the equation from Saturday. The folks who visited, the folks who participated, and the folks who worked it. And that's how we do things, I think, in Arlington Heights. In this room and on the stage, everywhere, respect, I think, is the key phrase. So thank you all for everybody who participated in it. If nothing else, then we're going to move on with the agenda. There are no public hearings planned here tonight, so we'll move into citizens to be heard. And I have 2 blue cards. If anyone in the audience, I know there's a bunch of ladies here that want to speak. They told me in the hallway they wanted to go beyond the 3-minute rule. So if anyone wants to speak, please feel free. And if you'd like, you can fill out a blue card and give it to Becky here. They're in the back of the room. The first one on my list is Mary Batten. Mary, if you could come up, and then after Mary is David Weiner. So, Mary, give us your name and your address, and just keep an eye on the clock. You'll have 3 minutes.
Is it going to count down?
It's going to count down, and then at the end,
Lots of pressure, thanks.
It explodes at the end.
All right. My name is Mary Batten, Marybattin. Is that too loud? My address is 1125 East Euclid in Arlington Heights. Thank you so much for giving me time to speak tonight. I live on the corner of Euclid and Derbyshire. And my house was one of the 4 houses that was sustained substantial damage on December 6th with the damage from the Groot garbage truck explosion. And I think we all can do the math. That was 6 months ago. And I'm not sure if the board is aware, but 2 of the houses in that little block are still boarded up. One of them is mine. And one started work Saturday and the other one started work 2 weeks ago. So it's been a process to get the work done. And I won't speak for the others, but I will tell you, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but I will tell you that the day after the explosion, a Groot adjuster came to my house and basically said the process was that I go through my insurance company, and then my insurance company will pay for the repairs, and then they will subrogate to Groot. She said, quote, "That's the easiest and fastest way for this to be taken care of." And that's as far from the truth as it really could be. So without giving you everything, I will tell you that it's been 6 months, and I have gotten 2 quotes from contractors. My insurance agents pushed back on the first one, which was my contractor. They gave me their preferred vendor, and they pushed back on that one. Oop. And last week, I just was asked to get a 3rd quote from their preferred vendor. So I'm starting over again, and each contractor costs me time away from work. And along the way, someone suggested that I reach right out to Groot's insurance. So I got that number, and they have been unresponsive. So the actual damage to my house, there's 4 windows boarded up. The corner frame of my house is actually cracked. Every wall, every ceiling has a crack and needs to be repaired in every room of my house. My garage has a hole in it, and some boards are falling off. So I guess the bad news is that it's still livable. Or is that the good news? I'm not sure. But the problem is that I'm not getting anywhere. And I feel like the village doesn't want to see boarded up houses in their town, of course. And in light of a second Groot truck, fire, 2 blocks away from my house just last week, I don't know if that gives you leverage to try to work with Groot. I bought this house 5 years ago. I live in Arlington Heights and I work in Arlington Heights, and I love it here. And my house is broken, and I am looking to you possibly for some guidance, suggestions, support, or even just wanted to make sure that you all knew that a couple of us are still having trouble even getting someone to repair our house. So I don't really know where to go from here, but I appreciate your time.
Well, Mary, thanks for sharing. I know that we all received the emails from you and the fact that this is an ongoing struggle. I think Manager Recklouse would like to share some thoughts that maybe might be helpful.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is I'll give you my business card. If you want to email me your information, I will get you in contact with someone at Groot who will give you a call back.
Okay.
They're obviously, Groot is a vendor of ours, and we, unfortunately or fortunately, I can get to someone higher than probably you can, and we're happy to use any and all resources and influence we can to get your situation addressed promptly. So please give me a call or shoot me an email with
I
your
will.
information, and we will get to work on that right away.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Mayor, I have
Oh, yeah. Trustee Bertucci.
Randy, when is the contract with Groot expire?
We still have a couple of years left on that contract in 2027, I believe.
Okay. And then do we have a rep that's assigned to Arlington Heights? I assume that's the person that you might
Yes,
be-
we work closely with rep at Groot. This person would be someone from the parent company, Waste Connections, that when we've had inquiries from other residents, we've been able to get a very quick return phone call, and that's what I will do
Okay.
with
Because
this person as well.
if I remember correctly, there are some other residents, and I think they made their way to you, or I
Yes.
know a couple of us have referred them up to you. And to me, it's disappointing that Groot is not more responsive. And so I empathize with Mary and anybody else who's damaged, has a damaged home. So just curious,
When I've reached out, I know that the residents have received a phone call back from someone within minutes, and so I know that
Great.
Groot has indicated they value the relationship with us, and when we've called, they have responded. It's unfortunate that it has to come to that, but we're happy to lend a hand in getting these issues resolved any way we
great,
can.
good job.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad we talked about it. Thank you. All right, David, you're up.
My name is David Weiner. I live at 201 North Vale Avenue, apartment 408. I serve on the board of Town Place Condominiums. There are several other residents here this evening to support me. And the issue that we have is a homeless issue on the southeast corner of our building. I know I sent Randy an email. I'm not sure if he shared it with you. But first I'm assuming it was his doing. We had two benches out there. One of them is gone now. So there's now only one of the village benches in that area. But the concern here is that this issue has been going on for some time, and it has become significantly worse with more people congregating all day long. There is a woman who's been living on that bench since, I would say since late winter, early spring. There is concerns for safety. That is right near an exit from our building. And there's also concerns for the image of our building. And these are our homes, and hopefully we retain the value of our homes, but we're concerned that our homes are being tarnished because of this issue with these people out there. And we've had fairly regular drinking going on. There's loud noise, arguing, and trash. The trash barrel there, if there's a question about drinking going on, you can just look in the trash barrel, and it's always full. So in my email to Randy, I had asked if we could get both of those benches removed. I think that's the start of getting the problem under control. We know that the benches being gone may not stop the congregating, but at least at that point, they're on our property, sitting on our retaining wall, and I'm assuming at that point, the police would move them off of that area. So I guess we're looking for some help as to what we can do next to try to resolve this.
Okay, thanks, David. I know this is a very, very sensitive subject, and there's never a good answer in any of it. But Manager Recklouse, you want to share what we know so far about this? Because we've been talking about it for a little while.
We have, and, you know, homelessness is obviously a difficult issue, and, you know, we try very hard to work with every individual who is unhoused in our community to kind of get to the root causes of their homelessness and try to work with them. And the individuals who have been in that area are folks that both are really our public works, health and human services, and police departments are aware of. We did not actually remove a bench, to my knowledge, in that area, so I'm not sure where that came about. The one woman has been working very closely with Darren Brown from our Health and Human Services Department. He's trying very hard to get her services and find her a place to live. So far to no success, but he's been trying. Some of the other individuals are folks that are known to our police department, and to be candid, some of those folks have moved from place to place within the community. We have not, as a practice, engaged in removing park benches as a way to address this, because what we find happens when that happens is folks will just relocate to another location adjacent to another person's home or business, and you don't really address the problem, you just move it around. We have taken some steps, the board has, to address this issue within locations like the public parking garages. But in terms of, it is more difficult on a location like a park bench where, the purpose of it is to sit. I don't have an easy answer for you. There are additional ordinance measures that the village could take in that regard, that, again, could result in some moving some things around. But, and again, that's something that we haven't talked about to the board in a year or a little more. But if it's something that the board is interested in, staff can certainly continue to research other avenues. But under our current ordinances, we are limited on what we can do in this particular circumstance. But again, we're happy to get additional guidance and direction from the board on this matter. But it is from a legal standpoint, I know the village attorney can comment on this as well. It's not something where it's an easy issue to address, but we at the same time sympathize. What we try to do, like I said, is work with the individuals, but then also encourage folks that are experiencing issues with this, that if there are crimes being committed or laws being broken, we certainly can act on those. If someone is breaking the law, they can be addressed, they can be fined, they can be arrested, just like anybody else. When we can catch someone, in the act of doing something just like any other crime. But I fully acknowledge that this is a difficult situation at this location.
Yeah, so I'm assuming drinking, if they're drinking on the public sidewalk there, that's a violation.
You're not allowed to be publicly intoxicated. Certainly it's still a ordinance violation within Arlington Heights. If the individual can be caught, that's the issue. Can be caught doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think I understand. The people in our building are trying to be heartless or unfeeling as far as the homelessness issue. Right. But of course, when it falls on your doorstep, you take a different approach. And so we would appreciate any suggestions that you might have. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, David. Appreciate your commentary. Trustee Bertucci.
Okay, so I have some questions, Randy. First of all, obviously we want to get the individual as much help as help. Obviously, so let's start there. And I believe it's the female who is there more consistently, and actually, dare I say, sleeps there?
Yes.
Okay. So, what you're saying is right now there's no ordinances on the books or anything to allow us to find a way for her to be able to get some help. Is she refusing help? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I mean, without getting into the personal details of the individuals, a lot of individuals who are experiencing homelessness, there's mental health issues, there's reasons why they don't seek out help within the normal routes going to Journeys and so forth. In some cases, there's individuals that don't want to go there for various reasons. In other cases, there may be individuals who have been are not allowed in a place like Journeys because of a past experience that they have. It's very much varied. And so we've had some success on an individual by individual basis. And I know you're aware of some of them,
Sure.
of getting people somewhere where they can be relocated, but it's kind of a case by case basis. But this is one that's still very much an active effort of the Health and Human Service Department, that individual.
Okay. I mean, I would be, for one, interested in, reviewing what we can do
Sure.
in avenues
In
of,
terms of new ordinances and so
whether it's new ordinances or whatever. I mean, we certainly were able to move along, prevent $1 million plus or multi-million-dollar garages from not being used because people were concerned about using them. But I mean, we have to empathize, with the people in that building. I mean, any one of us, can you imagine somebody sitting outside your house and those types of buildings? What do you have in there, David? About 80, 90 units? 61. So at least a couple a year probably turnover in a sale. So if you're trying to sell your house and a realtor brings prospective buyers over, it is. I can understand what David is describing here, and that's going to be an issue. Not to mention what else it attracts. So again, the key is obviously to get this woman help, obviously, but we also need to I'd like to see us go further than just say, David, you're in a tough situation. I'd like to see us make some efforts here to find a solution.
Thanks. Anyone else on the board on this? Trustee Zyck.
Thank you, Mayor. It is a tough situation, and first of all, we have to remember that the homeless people, they are going through certain situations which most of us can't fathom here, and they are human beings, and we have to make sure that they're treated correctly. But I do agree with Trustee Bertucci. We can't just sit here and say you are in a tough situation. There are things that we can't talk about, and we should talk about as a board. And I'm very much behind that. What can we do to help the situation? Because these are the citizens also of our community that were elected and sworn to try to help as much as we can. So yeah, I would be behind that also to what can be the next steps that we can do, that they can do in the interim, and then also what can we do long-term.
Thanks, Trustee Zyck. Anyone else? I think I'll wrap it up by saying I think this would be a good discussion matter at Committee of the Whole sometime very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, has a stake in this. We're all taxpayers, and it's important that if there are some church groups out there that want to be involved, or of the programs that we see when the Capital Development Board sends off all the money down this way, there's reasons for this kind of a thing to get some help. There's got to be ways, and it would be my opinion that occupying a space like that day after day after day, week after week, month after month, as I've witnessed this one, I know exactly what you're referring to. I know it's a problem. I just don't think it's very fair. It's not fair to everyone else. So let's have a discussion about it really soon and see what we can do to help these people as well as everyone else. It makes sense to me. Okay. Where were we? Let me put my glasses back on. That was the end of citizens to be heard. There were nobody else from the audience that has anything else. I see one more hand up. Step up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, and note that you have a clock up there for 3 minutes, and you're all good.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Yusuf. I am here to hopefully clear a few misconceptions in hopes of us becoming less divided than we are today. In case you're not aware, a Muslim by definition is anyone who submits their will to God. If you are a Christian, the verse from Gospel of John, chapter 5, verse 30, might come as a surprise, where Jesus, peace be upon him, says in red letter, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which had sent me. Anyone who says, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which had sent me, is a Muslim. Jesus, peace be upon him, was sent only for the Jews, but Jesus, peace be upon him, was a Muslim. Some of you might have noticed that Muslims pray by falling their face to the ground. Well, if you look in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39, you will find that Jesus, peace be upon him, also fell on his face and prayed, just as you see Muslims praying today. As a follower of Jesus, peace be upon him, when was the last time you fell your face to the ground and prayed, just as Jesus, peace be upon him, prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane? In case you're not aware, the word Christian came after Jesus, peace be upon him, was gone, when some of his followers went to the city of Antioch, modern-day Turkey, which was part of the Roman Empire then, to preach to them the oneness of God. This is when those who worshipped idols called the followers of Jesus, peace be upon him, Christians. It is mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26, and the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. So the name Christian was not given by God, not by Jesus, peace be upon him, not by any of his followers, but by the pagans of the Roman Empire. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that all mankind is from Adam, and Adam is from dust. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. A white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over a white, except by piety and God consciousness. I end with the verse from the Holy Quran, from Surah Al-Hujurat, chapter 49, verse 13, where our one and only Creator, Allah, the same Allah of the Bible, the Arabic Bible to be exact, and the Holy Quran says, O mankind, indeed we have created you from a single pair of a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you may get to know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most pious of you. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and all-acquainted. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, we're going to move on. The next item on the agenda is consent agenda. And for this, I have to ask if any trustee wishes to vote no or pass on any of the consent agenda items. Seeing none, is there any trustee that would like an item removed from the consent agenda for consideration separately? Anyone in the audience that would like a trustee to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, then I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee LaBedz. Any further discussion? If none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Zyck?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Yes.
Trustee Manganaro?
Aye.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
President Tinaglia?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, last item of business is new business, and this is 1727 East Davis Street, which is Arlington Steel, PC 24-026. Is the petitioner present? Would you like to come up front and introduce yourself?
Good evening. My name is Bill Downey. I'm president and owner of Arlington Structural Steel. I purchased Arlington from the Clarwar family in 2019, and they built the business in Arlington right off Davis Street in 1967. So since my purchase, I've automated that facility and really brought it up to the latest standards in technology and manufacturing of structural steel. On the plan, I'm looking to expand Arlington and add a new building and really update the facility that's currently there. in addition to adding 11,000 square feet for manufacturing. So trying to expand the amount of steel I can produce at Arlington is what I'm looking to do. The business, it's construction, so it's up and down. So we have peaks and valleys in business, good times and bad times and so forth. So, but if there's opportunity to expand it and I can do it, I'm of that mindset to do it. There's a lot in play in Arlington Heights, as we know. If the Bears come through and so forth, I can't do the stadium, but I can certainly help. And it would be good for Arlington Heights to have a local business supporting that stadium. So the plans are put forth to expand Arlington and bring it up to 2025 standards.
All right, very good. Did you have a graphic presentation that you wanted to share before I turn it over to staff, or is this your presentation?
This is just my presentation. You have all the documents that are associated with the proposal on file.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and have a chair for a moment then, and I'll ask Emily if she's ready. Or it looks like we might be having some technical difficulties. We might want to chime in the music while we're waiting here.
Mayor, if I can just put a little levity on while we're waiting on the
Sure,
situation.
sure.
So I don't know how many people on the board remember Ralph Clarbor. Tom, maybe you don't. I don't know. Robin, you do. Okay, so Robin and I.
The old ones.
Yeah. Used to wear a cowboy hat. He was I rest in peace. He was an interesting guy in town. He was actually sat on this board, Robin, right? Was he actually a mayor for a while?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't remember, but he was active.
He was very active. I think I thought
he might have been.
I thought I want to say he was on the board, but he very involved. So there was a lot of history there for those who are into Arlington Heights history, Bill. So you're right, but.
All right. Well, thank you for that little study there. It looks like we have our presentation ready to go. Is that correct?
We are ready.
All
Thank you,
right.
Trustee Bertucci, for buying us a little extra time.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
As you heard, the petitioner this evening is Arlington Steel of 1727 East Davis Street. They are seeking approval for a planned unit development as well as 3 variations. The property in question is currently 3.2 acres. There is an existing approximately 12,000 square foot building on the property. And because they are looking to build a second building of approximately the same size, which would be 2 buildings on a single lot, it does necessitate a planned unit development approval.
Could you talk right into your mic, please, so we can all hear you, and everybody at home too?
Got a lot of cords going here. Is that better?
Yeah, much better, thank you.
This is the aerial depicting the site. You can see it is a little bit of an unusual configuration, as there is the long access drive that's about 25 feet wide from Davis Street that provides access to the property. So there is no visibility to the interior of the property from the public right-of-way. Here, this picture indicates that the zoning of the property is M2, which is consistent with the comprehensive plan designation of research and development, manufacturing, and warehouse. This is the proposed site plan. The existing building is the yellow building you see. I would like to note that north on this image is actually on the right-hand side. So the existing building is on the eastern portion of the property. The proposed 12,000 square foot building you see is on the western portion of the property. In addition to constructing the new building, they will be also constructing some additional access drives and parking lots. There are existing gravel parking lots, which they are not touching, which will remain. And then they will be constructing some additional drives and parking spaces to serve this new building. They will also be removing some of the existing storage containers and a trailer that are on the site to make space for this building, which will provide a permanent home for what's currently occurring in those temporary structures. In terms of what's the parking requirements, the property is actually overparked for the village code requirement. They currently have 10 employees that work on the site, and they would be looking to double their employee count, adding another 10 employees for a total of 20. They are required to have 24 parking stalls per the proposed use. They do have 31 parking stalls, but I would note that 9 of those stalls are actually provided on the adjacent property, which is in Mount Prospect and serves the Milos Park. So they do have a long-term lease with the Park District. 39 years, I believe, is left on that lease, so quite a bit of time. So no concerns from staff's perspective on their ability to park their use on site. The Plan Commission did consider this request. They were supportive of the request to waive the traffic study, as the addition of the 10 employees isn't anticipated to have a significant impact on traffic in the area. The second variation request was to waive the requirement to install landscape islands because of the configuration of the site, the lack of visibility into the site from the right-of-way, and the nature of the way the traffic circulation works within the site in terms of moving the heavy steel products. Staff was supportive of eliminating the landscape island requirement. And then they are also requesting to eliminate the requirement for parking lot curving for portions of the lot. There are areas of the lot that will have curbing, but those areas that don't have curbing, they're requesting to not install it. Staff was supportive of those requests, as was the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission did ask that they properly stripe the parking lot and that they work with Mount Prospect for the striping of the parking lot and those additional spaces that serve them off-site. And then, of course, that last condition is our standard condition as it relates to complying with appropriate regulations. So the motion before the village board this evening is to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare the appropriate documents, granting the PUD approval and variation approval as set forth in the agenda materials in your packet this evening.
Great, thanks, Emily. Bill, if you could come back up. And Emily, if you can go back one slide, please. Bill, you've no doubt read these recommendations, and you see this list of 3 conditions here. Are you in agreement with all 3 of those? You understand what they all mean?
I do understand it. I am in agreement with them.
Very, very well. Okay, let's go back to the board then. Is there anything you wanted to add to what was said?
No, it was all presented very well.
Did you do a good job?
She did a real good job.
Glad to hear. All right, anyone on the board? Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Bill, living kind of in that area, I don't really see a lot of steel trucks coming in and out of your facility. I'm assuming it's not a lot. Are you purchasing your raw material from service centers or?
No, we purchase right from the mill, so we get it out of Alabama, we get it out of Gary, Indiana, or in Michigan. So it's all bought right from the steel mill because we're buying in large quantity. We average anywhere, and it's good that you don't see the trucks, but we are moving a lot of steel in and out of there. We average in 2022 and 23, we're averaging between 500,000 and 1 million pounds a month of steel out of the current facility. And that's when we were working 24 hours a day. So it just depended on the workload that we had. So we're trying to smooth that out a little bit with the extra building and the added people.
So with the really the doubling of the workforce, I'm assuming you're bringing the steel in on semi-trucks. How many per day do you typically bring down Davis Street?
It all depends. Like this, currently, there's going to be 1 or 2 trucks this week going down Davis. There may, at peak times, may have been 1 a day, 5 a week when we're busier. So each truck, to give you an idea, can hold 40,000 pounds. So 10 trucks, when I'm doing 500,000 pounds, 40 to 45,000. So about 10 trucks is about 1 month's supply of material.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and I'm was in the industry until I retired. So being in the steel business, I know how much raw materials coming in. I just wanted to get a general idea what it was going to do for traffic on Davis and how many more trucks potentially are the neighbors there going to be seen coming off of Arthur. So, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Trustee Bertucci?
First of all, Bill, thank you for sticking with Arlington Heights and developing further on the land versus going anywhere else. So we appreciate it. Sure. Certainly an opportunity for additional employment in the area and also a name like Arlington Steel sticking around for many more decades. I am prepared to make a motion, Mayor, if you don't mind, we could always continue
Yeah,
discussion.
why don't you go ahead and do that? We can always
Okay.
do more dialogue.
I'll move to direct staff and the village attorney to prepare final documents granting the planned unit development approval and the zoning relief requested and subjected to the recommended conditions, all as set forth in the agenda materials for tonight's board meeting.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Bertucci, second by trustee Schwingbeck. Any further discussion on this side? Trustee Dunnington?
Thank you. Thank you so much for investing more into Arlington Heights. In the minutes from the Plan Commission, you were asked about the steel tariffs and how that might be affecting your business. And I know things are constantly changing, but you had indicated that some of your products were from Canada. And now there's a 50% tariff on steel from Canada. And so I'm wondering how that'll affect your business and putting in this new building.
So what we get out of Canada, Canada supplies a lot of the tubing for a lot of the industrial buildings, for the columns. If Canada imposes the tariffs, the tubing will come back to being manufactured in the United States. So we'll switch suppliers to the United States if Canada puts the tariffs on the structural steel, the tubing. So it'll be more detrimental to Canadians if they impose those tariffs because they know the product will move back to the United States. And I've had several mills tell me already that they'll begin fabrication of the tube sizes that we need if the tariffs go through.
So you'll be able to get everything you need here.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Tinaglia.
It's hard, I know.
Yeah, it is. Still getting used to it. I too, Bill, want to thank you for remaining here, enlarging here in Arlington Heights. I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't even realize you were there, so that's probably a good thing when you talk about semi-trucks of steel coming down Davis Street. So when I saw what was coming through from the Plan Commission, I thought, wow, this is really actually exciting that we have manufacturing here in Arlington Heights along with other things that we do. And I'm glad to know that you'll be able to handle your materials without having a negative effect from the tariff. So that's a great thing, and I am certainly in support of this motion.
Trustee Manganaro?
Yes, I also want to thank you for expanding, staying with us, and my read of the materials, it seems that it was a very collaborative process with the Planning Commission. I appreciate that. I appreciate particularly that you made some changes based on the fire access recommendations. And I know that that required some widening of roads and so forth, but very much appreciate the good neighborliness of your approach. I live in the area too, and I kind of wondered where those trucks were going. There's not that many of them.
No.
But I do see them now and again on Davis Street, so, but
Great.
thank you again.
Thank you.
Trustee Zyck?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Once again, you'll hear thank you for expanding in Arlington Heights. I've been in manufacturing myself for almost 40 years, so I understand some of the things that you're going through and adding on more jobs in the community. I would say that's a great thing. The only question I had is you made a comment during your presentation that it sounded like you were maybe not set that you were actually going to do this. You wanted to get the approval, so if in case you wanted to go ahead and do this. Was I reading that correct?
That's correct. I mean, business is very cyclical in the steel arena, and it could change very drastically. Like last year in 24, we came off record highs in 22 and 23. 24 was a little quiet in the first quarter. Then all heck broke loose and buildings needed to be built, and I had to outsource buildings last year to a competitor just to get it done and the like. So this year it's not as busy, but I'm seeing a ton of quoting activity going on. So people are just a little tight on their wallet right now. We're trying to figure out where things are going to go in the economy. And I am expecting things to break loose Should they break loose and things go accordingly, then I will proceed with the building and the addition at Arlington. It's just tough right now when I don't have a good handle on the business as where I may see it going in 26 and 27. But I'm trying to be optimistic with it and do the diligence here and get it ready to go. So when we are ready to go or make a decision, I'm ready to pull the trigger and go and move.
Okay. And I think one of the things I read was steel staircases. That's a big part of it.
Correct. I've just expanded in doing the steel staircases at Arlington. So I've expanded. We used to outsource all that, and this is the first year I started doing steel staircases as well.
Okay. That was going to be my question. Were you already outsourcing this? So this is something that you're already selling, you're already offering, but now you're going to bring the production into Arlington Heights, so you don't have to outsource it elsewhere.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? That's it? Well, thank you. As everyone else has said, I think it's great. I'm sure you'll be building this building out of wood studs. When you do this project, are you thinking that you'll cut down on the 24-hour program a little bit?
Yeah, my intention is not to run the workers as hard as I did, running 24 hours, running 12-hour shifts, is to go back to 8-hour shifts right now.
Will you still run 3 shifts?
We are running, no, we'll just run 2 shifts. So we do run 2 shifts today. We'll slowly ramp up in the new facility, first shift, and then as business picks up, add a second shift. So it's really just adding 5 additional welders first shift in the new building, and then 5 additional welders for second shift in the new building. But 2 8-hour shifts, that's what we're currently running right now.
So a little bit of advice to you, when you get through here tonight, assume it all goes well, this approval will be good for 12 months.
Yeah, I understand.
If you have your architect working on your plans to go in for permit, that's also good for 12 months. So the advice I'm giving you is get all that done, get your permits in play through the building department after tonight, get that rolling. So then you have that window to pull the trigger. You don't have to wait on anybody else. It's just all in your hands.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, anyone from the audience that had questions on this petition? Seeing none, we'll go back to the board for a final vote.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes?
Trustee Manganaro?
Aye.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Zyck?
Yes.
Trustee Santa Maria?
Yes.
President Tenali?
Yes. Congratulations, you're all set,
Thank you.
and you're all ready to go. Thanks for being here tonight. That is everything on the agenda. If we go back to nothing from the village manager? Nope. Nothing at all? Okay, then I guess we'll take a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by trustee LaBedz, second by trustee Santa Maria. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.